Hello and welcome to Chapter 4, the Defining the Project chapter. Looking at our roadmap, we have had an introduction to project management, a look at strategy, the organization, how to structure the organization around projects, and this chapter concerns defining the project. These are the 5 steps to define the project. You define the project scope, establish project priorities, create the work breakdown structure, integrate the WBS, the work breakdown structure, with the organization, and code the WBS for the information system that's used to manage the project. Defining the project scope. The scope is a definition of the end result or mission of the project, a product or service for the client or customer, in specific, tangible, and measurable terms. The purpose of the scope statement is to clearly define the deliverables for the end user, focus the project on successful completion of its goal, and it's used by the project owner and participants as a planning tool and used to measure the project success. This is a list of items for the project scope. You need an objective, deliverables, milestones, technical requirements, limits and exclusions, and reviews with the customer. Scope statements are called statements of work. The project charter contains an expanded version of the scope statement. It authorizes the project manager to initiate and lead the project, and it's often required in what is known as stage gate or gate processes. The scope creep is defined as tendency for the project scope to expand over time due to changing requirements, specifications, and priorities. So your scope will grow over time as needs of the customer or the company may change. Regarding project priorities, everything cannot have a number one priority, so there are trade-offs. And when you make a trade-off in priority, you are looking at trade-offs in the budget, the cost of the project, the schedule, the time taken to complete the project, and also performance and scope, as well as the quality of the project. So here are the examples of how to manage priorities. You can constrain, you can set a parameter as a fixed requirement, you can enhance, you can optimize a certain criterion over others, or you can accept, reduce, or not meeting a criterion or requirement. This is the constraint triangle. It shows essentially that these are the 3 items or 4 items regarding project management and the trade-offs. If you make a change in scope, then cost, quality, and time have to be modified because it will be affected. And similarly, if you make a change to the cost, for example, you want to remove or reduce cost of the project, then you're going to have to take something out of scope, you may have to take something out of time, and you may reduce your quality. So those are your trade-offs that you would have to make for those decisions. Creating the work breakdown structure. This is a hierarchical outline or map that identifies the products and work elements involved in a project, defines the relationship of the final deliverable and the sub-deliverables, and finally to the work package. It's suited best for design and build projects that have tangible outcomes. So this shows the elements of the hierarchy. You start at the top level with the project. Then you have your major deliverables, sub-deliverables, lowest sub-deliverable, the cost account level, and then the work package. The purpose of the work breakdown structure is shown here. It helps the project manager to evaluate cost, time, and technical performance, provides information for each organizational level that can be used in reporting. It helps the development of the organization breakdown structure and helps to manage, plan, schedule, and budget. This is a sample work breakdown structure for an eSlim tablet prototype. You can see the various levels of the hierarchy from hardware, CPU, other items that are related to this project, all the way down to the work package level at the bottom. Work packages are the lowest level, and it defines the work, identifies time to complete it, the budget, resources needed, people responsible, and monitoring or points or milestones that are used to track towards success. The organization breakdown structure provides a framework to summarize organization work performance, identifies the organization units responsible for the work packages, and it ties the organizational units to the cost control accounts, which is part of the diagram showing the WBS. And this is a sample. What is new on this chart is it shows the organizational functional areas that participate in these various work streams or areas for the project, the deliverable areas for the project. For the project information system, the WBS coding system defines the level and elements of the WBS, organization elements, work packages, and budget and cost information. It can be used to consolidate reports for any level of the organization. So this sample image shown here is from Microsoft Project. You can see the various WBS level from the top level and all the way down to some of the sub-deliverables. So there would be various deliverables and work packages under each level, but this is only showing 3 levels. Responsibility matrices summarize the task to be accomplished and who is responsible for what on the project. I have seen these used at a high level in project charters, and they can also be used throughout the project. It lists the project activities and participants, clarifies critical interfaces, provides a means for participants to view their responsibilities, and clarifies the authority that can be exercised by each participant. So in this next slide is a sample responsibility matrix for a market research project. Notice that the tasks are listed to the left and the names are off in columns to the right. Each row, each task has a responsible person, there's an R for responsible, and then other people who are supporting the task, or if it's blank, then those individuals are not involved on that particular task. The project communication plan is usually a required element. It provides information or a plan for how information will be collected and when, who will receive it, which stakeholders get what methods will be used to gather and store information, limits on access to information, when communicated and how communicated. Some of the typical information needs are project status reports. So for your projects, I'm asking you for weekly status reports. Other issues or other information needs could be deliverable issues, changes in scope, stage gate decisions, action items, milestone reports, etc. This is a grid or a matrix to describe the different stakeholder communications. It's just a guide to show you how you would communicate to various types of stakeholders. So on the horizontal axis, you have interest level, low to high, moving from left to right, and on the vertical axis, you have power or authority, or also importance in a company, from low to high. The key here is that as interest increases and as power increases, you want to provide more information to those particular stakeholders. And sometimes you would have to get input from the stakeholders themselves to let you know how often they would need communication and what specifically they would want. In order to develop a communication plan, some items or inputs would be stakeholder analyses, information needs, so sources of information where you obtain your communications, dissemination modes, responsibility, and timing. So this is a sample communication plan for a oil research project. On the far left, the information that is going to be communicated, who will get it, the target audience, when, how, and who is the responsible team or people or a person who would actually do or produce and disseminate that communication. So the key terms from this particular chapter are shown in the list here. We will move on next to chapter 5.